Hello everyone! Today in this video, we will talk about tips and tricks to get an impressive score in ITP TOEFL tests in listening sections. This video was made by Dian Wahyu Saputri and Bidarisekti Amumpuni from class 3. In the listening section, you will facing out 50 questions that consist of short dialogue, long dialogue, and talks. First of all, here are the general strategies that you can use and apply to the short dialogues, long dialogues, and talks.
Next, we will move to the tips and trick for the short dialogue. Remember, these tips and trick only can be applied in short dialogue. Number 1. Focus on the last line. The short dialogue consists of 2 lines. You do not have to be worried when you miss the first line in the conversation. Just focus on the second line. Number 2. Choose answer with synonym. The answer is the restatement of the second line. It has different words but has the same meaning. You have to focus on the keywords. You can check the example on the conversation below. The keyword on the conversation is started. What is the synonym of the word started? So, what do you think is the best answer? Number 3. Avoid similar sound. Choose the most different answer on the multiple choice because the same sound that you may heard could possibly attract. From the example of multiple choice below, you can read that there are 3 same sound of words in the option. So you have to choose the different one. What do you think is the best answer for the option below? The next is tips and tricks that are focused on drawing conclusion. Number 4. Drawing conclusion: who, what, and where. Before you listen the audio, scan the multiple option and you will know whether the question refers to who, what, or where. Focus on the clue in the conversation about answering the question who, what, or where. For example, the clue circulation desk, it means that the dialogue takes place in the library, because the circulation desk is the facility that the library provides, where the librarian can check and record the loan book data. From the conversation below, what do you think is the best answer? The next is number 5. Drawing conclusion: who and what in a passive form. When you find passive line in the conversation, the answer must be in positive form. And if you find an active line in the conversation, the answer must be in passive form. You can read the example below. What do you think is the best answer? Number 6. Drawing conclusion: who and what that have more than one noun or subject. When you find more than one noun or subject in a conversation, the answer refers more to the first noun or subject that have been mentioned. From the conversation below, Rachel is the person who mentioned first in the conversation. So what do you think is the best answer? The next tips and tricks are focused on negative form. 7. Negative. This case have 2 terms. Regular negatives include not or anti. And from this statement, the phrase not sad means happy. And then other negatives, it include nobody, none, nothing, and never. And in this statement, the phrase never works hard means lazy. Number 8. Double negatives. It divided into three terms. The first one is two negative words and prefixes. If you find the double negative word or prefixes, the answer is the positive form. Negative words which meet the negative prefixes usually like the theory of mathematics. Minus meets minus and became positive. Next is two negative verbs. If you find this type of double negative, please pay close attention to the conversation. It seems like or have a similarities with conditional sentence, but it has different form. Other than that, it is also such an implied meaning. As the example, the rain haven't stopped yet. They can't go anywhere. From that statement, it can be implies that they could go anywhere if the rain was stopped. The third one is neither or either. It is about when you find both the subject and the object experience the same condition or situation. For the example, when there is a statement, Blue did not like the cake, and neither did Chloe. The meaning is that both of them did not like the cake. Number 9. Common almost negative expression. There are two forms of this expression. The first is almost known. There are some expressions that describe the almost known expression. If you heard the words such as hardly, barely, and so on, that are the types of almost known expression. The statement example is when someone says, there is hardly any shirt in the wardrobe. It is mean that there is almost no shirt in the wardrobe. The second, almost never. Almost never expression sometimes can be identified by listening, whether the lines in the conversation mention about the words rarely or seldom, or perhaps it does not even mention one of them. As the example, when the speaker says, she rarely drives to work, it has a meaning that she almost never drives to work. Number 10. Negatives with comparatives. Number 1. When one of the speakers say, no one is more handsome than he is, that statement means that he is the most handsome guy. Number 2. When you find the ER form, the statement usually uses the phrase of couldn't be. For example, she couldn't be happier, which means that she is extremely happy. Listen carefully to the conversation and remember that the comparative form keywords. The next tips and tricks are the function versions of the conversation of the dialogue. Number 11. Expression of agreement. The expression of agreement divided into two agreements, a positive and a negative agreement. You can identify whether it is the positive agreement or not by the second speaker response. Common positive expressions are so do I, me too, I'll say, isn't it? You can say that again. Remember to not translate the expression words by words, or you are going to lose. The negative agreement has the expression like neither do I don't either, I didn't either, I haven't either. The negative agreement common with the word either.
Number 12. Expression of uncertainty and suggestion. To identify the expression, you need to understand really well about the different meaning of uncertainty and suggestion. Uncertainty expressions are delivered by the speaker when he or she doesn't sure about something. The common expressions of uncertainty are, isn't it? As far as I know. As far as I can tell. And then the next one, suggestion is offered another option. The common expression of suggestion are, why not something? Let's do something. 13. Expressions of emphatic surprises. If you found this kind of question, what you have to do is choose the answer which has the opposite statement. There are some kind of emphatic surprises that you can find in the conversation. What you have to do is just choose the answer that has the opposite meaning from the statement. For example, then Mary is at home. It means that I thought Mary was not at home. I will show you the example of the question. Do you know what the correct answer is? So the trick is, you just have to look at the clue. So you did do the dishes. What is the opposite meaning from the statement? Yeah, the dishes would not be done. So the correct answer is D. For the next tips and tricks, we'll be focused about contrary meaning. 14. Listen for the wishes. What you have to do if you found this kind of question is, you have to choose the answer that has the opposite meaning from the conversation. There are some kind of wishes that you can find in the conversation. The first one is, if you found an affirmative wishes, choose the answer that implies a negative reality. For example, I wish I had milk to drink. And then you have to choose the answer that means no milk to drink. And then the second one, negative wishes. If you found a negative wishes, choose the answer that implies an affirmative reality. For example, I wish I had no milk to drink. So you have to choose the answer that you have milk to drink. And then the third one, past tense. What you have to do is choose the answer that implies a present reality. For example, I wish she were me. It means that she is not me. And then the last one, past perfect tense. What you have to do is choose the answer that implies a past reality. For example, I wish she had learned the materials. And then you have to choose the answer, she did not learn the materials. Here I will show you the example of the question. For this question, do you know about the correct answer? So the clue is, I wish I had been able to buy the car I really wanted. So now, think about the opposite meaning of those statements. Yeah, the opposite meaning of this statement is on the option C. The car that he got was not his first choice. 15. Untrue condition. It is almost the same with number 14. What you have to do is choose the answer that has the opposite meaning from the conversation. There are also some kind of untrue condition that you can find. The first one is affirmative condition. If you found this type, you have to choose the answer that implies a negative reality. For example, if I were rich, I could go abroad. Then you have to choose the answer that means not rich. And then the second one, negative condition. You should choose the answer that implies an affirmative reality. For example, if I were not rich, I could not go abroad. Then you have to choose the answer that means rich. And then past tense. Then choose the answer that implies a present reality. For example, if I had a boyfriend, I would marry him. Then choose the answer that means I do not have a boyfriend. And then the last one is past perfect tense. You have to choose the answer that implies a past reality. For example, if I had a boyfriend, I would have married him. So choose the answer that means I did not have a boyfriend. There are some things that you should remember from the wishes and answer condition. The first one is there are no was in answer condition and wishes, but use were even if the subject is single or plural. And in answer condition, there is form in past perfect that you can read yourself. And then this is the important parts. The sentence form in the answer is the one step back tenses. For example, if the statement were using past tense, so you should choose the answer that have simple present tense. 16. Listen for phrasal verbs. If you found phrasal verbs in the dialogue, see the clue in the multiple choice and choose the option that have the synonym of the phrasal verbs. To master this trick, you should have more practice because it is the matter of memorization and experience. Here, we already provided some phrasal verbs that you can learn. 17. Listen for idioms. If you found an idiom in the dialogue, see the clue in the multiple choice and choose the option that have the synonym of the idiom. To master this trick, you should have more practice because it is also the matter of memorization. Here, we also provided some idioms that you can learn. Basically, you cannot translate word by word because they made certain unite meaning. Next, tips and tricks to pass the long dialogues and talks. In long dialogue, unlike in short story, you have to focus on the first speaker. Before you listen the audio, the first thing you have to do is anticipate the topics. Before you listen the audio, scan and skim the multiple choices so that you can be focused and gather the concept in your head. After scan and skim the options, you can guess what the conversation will talk about. And then the second one, anticipate the question. When you saw the multiple choices, guess the question. It means what, who, where, and etc. that will be given to you by figure out the clue or keyword from the options. If you do that, the audio will guide you as the map to find the correct answers. For example, we already provide you the multiple choices. Now what you have to do is guess about what the topic will the conversation about and what the questions for the multiple choices while listening. So when you listen the audio, the first tips is determine the topic. Try to focus more on the first or second sentence because it may consist of the topic sentence and you will be able to figure out what the topic is about. The second one, draw conclusion about who, what, where, and when. While you listen the audio, think about who is the speaker, what the dialogue about, where the dialogue takes place, and when the dialogue is happened. Through that guide, we can find the correct answer when we already anticipate what the questions will be about. And then the third one, listen for answer in order. Instead of just listen to the conversation, you can look for your answer from the conversation because they are in order. And then the last one, making inference. To pass the long dialogue and talks, we have to understand about how to make inference. If we can infer the dialogue, it is easier to draw a logic conclusion based on the clues on the conversation. And remember to trust the passage so that you can stay in the path.
In conclusion, avoiding the trap, trust the passage, listen carefully, also pay close attention to the conversation and keep practicing are the best way to get an impressive score in TOEFL ITP test. Thank you for watching our video. Hope you can enjoy and learning about the strategy to get an impressive score in TOEFL ITP test. Keep practicing and good luck!